everybody. I'm taking the stairs. I guess I could have walked up. My name's Neil Wainwright. I'm the founder of UpHabit. It's my 8th startup. I started when I was 26 years old, which is very young for this day and age, but back in 1988, it was pretty young. And I'm here because I wanted to share some of my experiences and also to offer any one of you who wants to reach out and talk to me one-on-one. You're going to see my contact QR code come up on the screen later on, and I have a pocket full of business cards with them so that if you ever want to reach out and talk about your business or your idea. I'm a software engineer. I'm a total geek when it comes to product and business ideas, so I love riffing on concepts and new things that are happening. So I'm here I press the right arrow. Nope, that's too far. The number one thing to being happy and successful. So that's not really that much to do in 5 minutes or 4 minutes and 18 seconds. And it's the thing that I've kind of learned over my career. Jason, when you talked about raising your hand about where you found your first job and everything, I was a Queen's engineering student. I filled out the resumes. I put them in little slots and waited for companies to call me. Nobody called me. I went to a cocktail party at Queen's, and they do a lot of that at Queen's. And there was some recent grads that were there, or business people. One was from BNR, which is the R&D group for Nortel. That was before they were criminals. And the guy said, "Oh, you sound really nice. Send me your resume." And I ended up with 5 interviews in Ottawa like 2 weeks later because of that meeting, that chance meeting I had with some people. So I'm here to talk about, again, the number one thing, and these are some of the headlines I pulled. There's top 5 regrets of the dying. This is a book where it was a palliative care nurse who interviewed people that were dying and wanted to find out what the top 5 regrets were. And I'll tell you what number 4 was on the list. CNBC talking about how to get a job. Robert Waldinger, he's from Harvard, and they did a 75-year study on what makes people happy, and they followed them through their whole life. And then another one, an article on CNN. And just to cut it short, the answer is it's all about relationships. I have great relationships. And when I started out my business, when you're a founder, you're very focused on your own business. You don't have your head up. You're not talking to other people. Thankfully, the community around you now, you can actually talk to other people. To what Kat said earlier, it's very stressful. I've heard of people getting into a lot of medical health issues because they're first-time founders, and the stress can be kind of crushing for you. But don't worry about it. Just talk to other people, talk to your peers, get the support you need. And what they found, again, is that relationships are the number one reason, happy relationships are the number one reason for longevity and success and everything else in life. So I encourage you all, you're all here. I got about 50 LinkedIn connections. I accepted them all. Just network with people and just build great relationships. The other thing I'll say about it, and this gentleman called Adam Grant wrote a book called Give and Take, is you shouldn't expect things from people initially. You should be giving to them. Offer what you can do for them and not not suggest what they can do for you. So give of yourself, help people out. As Alex said, I coach 20 startups maybe at any one time. I do it through the Creative Destruction Lab. I do it through PeerScale. PeerScale is more a peer group of scaling CEOs that get together and share and talk. And just so you think it's not all hard numbers, or it's not hard numbers or anything like that. When I sold my business 3 years ago, my last business, it was a B2B expense management company, I got an extra $5 million on my exit because of my PeerScale members and them looking at my term sheet and laughing at it and telling me to tear it all up and re-edit it and send it back to the PE firm. And because I did that, I got an extra $5 million at the end. So it's really, really important that you guys build your networks, build your relationships, give of yourself and help other people before expecting anything in return. And in a lot of cases, you're not going to get anything in return, but on average, it all adds up. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about, as I was talking to Jason about it, is in my company, my new company, I defined the corporate values first, and then I hired my first employee. One of our values is make new mistakes. So we're always expecting people to make mistakes, and we actually encourage it. But what we want them to do is make new ones, because it means they learned, and then they went off to make a new mistake, which then we can celebrate because they learned something new. And I guess in closing, one thing I wanted to mention is that of my 6 engineers I have at UpHabit, 5 of them I hired internationally and brought to Canada. And is Gabe in the room? He's one of my engineers. He's over there in the corner. He's wearing an UpHabit t-shirt. He's the only Canadian engineer that I hired, except he came to Canada when he was 6 years old from Colombia. So I literally have a fully international engineering team, and I couldn't be more proud of that. And my plan is to make them all rich too, so that's good. So the last slide, this is my contact info. The QR code on the left, forget about the ones on the right, but the one on the left is actually my contact info, so it has everything, and you can send me an email. I'll reply with my calendar, and you can just book whatever time you want, whenever you want, as many times as you want. Thanks very much.
Everyone up. Two questions.
In about 4 to 5 years from now, I'll be bringing approximately greater than $1 billion a year into the Canadian economy as gross profit. What do you recommend I do with that money, as I'm trying to now identify mileposts down the road? What can I do with that money for us in this room?
You just want to think carefully about what you want to do with it. You want to create a legacy, right? You want to create something that's going to be a flywheel that's going to continue to spin long after you put money in. So I would be thinking, if I'm a philanthropist and I'm thinking about where do I want to invest my money, what can I do that's going to be sustainable to what Daniel said earlier? So try and find some investments that are going to make it sustainable.
Last question of the night, no pressure.
By the way, I'm wearing my wedding jacket from 8 years ago, so I still fit in it. Yes.
I think that's another presentation.
Hello. Just knowing that work-life balance is very important, and based on what you say, sounds like you do a lot of work. Just curious how many hours you work a week and how you balance your relationship between family and your business.
Geez, that's one I got in Waterloo, and that was a long time ago. The reality is, if you're a founder, it's a 7/24 thing. I remember when someone asked the work-life balance question to a VC on stage. His name was Scott Bonham, and he kind of stuttered. He didn't know what to say. They're expecting us to work a lot. But the reality is, you can carve out time for your friends, for your family, for your health, which is really important. But it's not something where it's a 9-to-5 job by any stretch of the imagination. I work on the weekends all the time. First thing I do in the morning and the last thing I do at night is look at my phone and see if there's some customer around the world that needs my help or needs a question answered. But I guess a lot of it's based on perspective and knowing that you're not going to be perfect, you're going to make lots of mistakes, and that's okay. And as long as you continue to move forward and work at the pace that you can work at, that's the best thing for you, and that's the best thing for everybody around you.
Can we get another huge round of applause for Neil?
All right.